Over the past few months, we've been steadily building out our game, STUB, a 2D puzzle platformer about time, mutations, and problem solving. But most of the videos we posted about have been deep dives into specific mechanics or random features, without really checking in on the actual progress of the game that we've been making as a whole. So for this video, we thought we'd do something a little different and have an actual devlog with a proper update. So we're just going to look at some of the polish and improvements that we've made over the past couple weeks. And before getting into the devlog, I know we have a lot of new subscribers now, so as an introduction, I'm Daniel. I'm the other developer and the main artist for Birdburger, as well as a different voice from the last video on the Godot camera systems. So sorry if you missed Tommy's voice, but other than that, let's get into core loop changes. So the first core gameplay change was that originally we had these organic doors. Sometimes they were dinosaurs or piles of garbage or goo monsters that were blocking your path. And every time that you hit a time machine, or what we call gizmos, these things would start to age and wither away, and then eventually open the way forward. I'd say a pretty cool idea, but honestly not very intuitive, so we changed direction. Now the gizmos directly charge up teleporters instead, so when you power one up, it opens access to the next part of the level. This system is more simple, readable, and it's way more satisfying to watch the teleporter charge up as you get closer to unlocking it. Next was resetting mutations, and originally each mutation had a hand-drawn blip animation for going back to their starting point when you hit a gizmo, kinda like going back in time at the same time as you go back to your starting point. And it looked pretty cool, but we ran into some big problems. Simple sprite animations limited how flashy it could be, and the animation size was fixed to the size of the mutation sprite itself. Not to mention that this would add a significant amount of unnecessary overhead for creating the blip animation for any and all future mutations that we would make. So our change was replacing those with a procedural shader effect. So the blip animation is now a shader assigned to the mutation sprite with a progress value from visible and normal to blipping to eventually gone, which also looks cleaner and much more sci-fi. Next up, I'll be going over some spawning improvements. So for the first improvement, we wanted entrances and exits to be more obvious, so we chose to add God rays. They're super simple and super effective, and we used a guide from this great video, I'll link it below, and honestly, it ended up looking way better than anything we could have hacked together for the sake of this game alone. And in this case, we didn't want the God rays to be too bright and flashy, so we made them pretty subtle but visible enough to indicate an opening. And then to move on to something a little bit bigger, the spawn system was a huge upgrade. Originally we had the player enter a scene, and we pretty much just shoved them forward with the character body 2D velocity physics in Godot until they reached a certain invisible line, and it wasn't the best. It was very error prone, and you could easily place the player in a position where STUB would attempt to move forward and get stuck, or just never reach the desired destination that you set. So basically we scrapped the whole system and rebuilt the whole thing. Now levels have a spawn point scene with a path 2D curve and a follow path 2D node that moves the player along when the scene loads. We also have it so the player is animated dynamically based on the path direction. So if the path dips, the player falls. If the path goes up, then the player jumps. And all of this happens by just drawing a curve in the editor, making it extremely easy to use during level building. And this alone made putting the levels together feel 10 times more polished. For the last few updates, I'll go over some other polish and system updates that we made. Starting off with our dialogue system, we already have two types of dialogue systems made, a black bar cinematic style and a minimal bottom text version. So we started phasing out all of the floating tutorial text that we have and started replacing it with proper dialogue that's mostly given from the drone guide friend that you start with. This is much less a fix, as it's just progressing the polish of the game as we've planned from a demo game jam vibe to the actual game with storyline and characters implemented. But moving on from that, a pretty big yet simple change that we made were glow effects. And originally we just used point lights for our highlights, and they never really popped. They were just more kind of gradients around the light sources. But now we've learned that in the forward plus mode on Godot, if you boost a material's color intensity above the glow threshold that you have in a world environment node as well in the level scene, it'll actually automatically bloom. So we applied this to everything that's supposed to be bright, being lights, energy orbs, holograms, and the result is such a clean, unified aesthetic, and everything just feels way more alive now. The last little thing, which is kind of small and may seem stupid, but the change it's had feels so effective is just changing the aesthetics of doors. They used to have a single on and off light, which didn't really communicate what was happening, and now some doors can have 2 or 3 lights, and the number of lights that turn off corresponds to how many buttons that you have pressed. It's a tiny detail, but it gives a ton of feedback and readability to the player. So that's about it for this dev vlog. If any of this looked cool to you, the game now has a Steam page, so feel free to wishlist. And also we just put up a Kickstarter preview page, so if you want to follow that, make sure to check that out too. I'll put all the links to everything in our description, and there's also plenty of links in our bio as well. Before ending the video too, I want to say thank you for also giving us 100 subscribers after the last video. It's generally a small milestone, but it means a lot to us since we're very new to doing social media posting, and the support on the last video was extremely exciting for us to see, and we appreciate all your feedback that you've given. If you also want to hang out, ask questions, or give more feedback, we have our Discord link, which will also be in the description. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.